Bonjour, everybody. How's everybody doing? This is your host, Matt, and with me, my co-host, John, here on our Mr. Robot podcast. How are you doing, sir?
Where's that?
All right, let's get started. We are on episode 3 of season 4 of Mr. Robot, the final season of the Mr. Robot show. This week, the episode was titled Forbidden. Let's.
What was the error code?
403 Forbidden. So,
Nice.
as we mentioned in one of our earlier podcasts this season, it looks like they are going by the error codes, the 400 error codes of computers, and the 403 just happens to be forbidden. So
Cool.
let's start this week's episode by asking the question, who is White Rose, John? We get a little bit of an insight on who she is. We flash back to the nice days of 1982 when IBM was starting to want to build a plant in China, and they're meeting with a young
I get the impression that
Zhang,
yeah.
who is White Rose.
Is that his name? Jang. What is it? Yang? Jang?
Zhang, yeah.
Yeah.
Xi Zhang,
Yeah.
the alternate
Right.
identity of White Rose.
It is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like she's kind of a dick. Which I'm sorry, she is.
So, we're seeing Zhang negotiating with an IBM representatives. They're trying to build a plant in China.
Mm-hmm.
We see Zhang, and we see the beginnings of, or back when he was in a relationship with another man, his translator. But it being, I guess, 1980s China.
Can we clear this up real quick?
Mm-hmm.
What pronoun are we using for this right now?
Well, White Rose is she, Zhang is he.
Okay.
So we're talking about White Rose, so that's she.
Before we get a million.
But Zhang, because at the end of the day, he does go by two different identities.
Right. I was gonna say because, they're two different people technically, but they're the same person. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so White Rose is she.
Right.
And
Zhang.
How do you spell it?
Zhang. Zhang.
Okay.
Zhang.
Okay. So yeah, and then we got Zhang, which is Zhang. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we see Zhang back, when he is going to be considered to be the ambassador of China and closing this deal with IBM.
Mm-hmm.
And he is shown to be in a relationship with another man, but they can't show it to the world. So he wants to desperately get out of where they're living, wants to be the ambassador so that they can leave the country and finally be together. And then we see on Zhang's, I guess, partner's wedding day.
Right.
He gets her, coincidentally, white roses.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells his lover that he's not going to be the ambassador after all. That he accepted the position of Minister of State Security. So they're not leaving the country and they can't be together. And that prompts his partner to slice his throat open on over those beautiful white roses.
It's a little graphic.
It is a very graphic way to open the episode.
Yeah.
And
they do a few things in this show that are...
It's a pretty interesting...
I'm not sure I'm old enough to watch this show.
It's a pretty interesting way to sort of show the... What's the word? The birth of White Rose, John. Metaphorically and almost literally.
Just the origin story, I guess.
Yeah, but literally, right, with those white roses, the blood on... That's a nice visual, right? The blood all over those white roses.
Okay, I guess you're into that.
Yeah. What, blood on white roses?
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of the backstory of White Rose.
Do you think there's a band called that yet?
What?
Blood on White Roses.
Blood on White Roses. And there isn't, there will be.
Yeah.
So it's it's a little bit of backstory of where White Rose is coming from, and maybe even her motivation. Um, and then we flash forward to the present, and you see Jang, that same dress that he shows in the flashback. He shows his lover for the first time that he likes to he also is a woman. He likes to dress as a woman, and he's wearing his mother's dress.
We're gonna say he and she because it's just too much work, guys.
And she's wearing the dress. She's showing her lover the dress and the presents.
He kept the dress.
He kept the dress. He wants to wear that dress on special occasion, whatever project that they've been talking about since the beginning of the series. Whatever project he's sending to the Congo.
Right.
He wants to wear the dress for that occasion.
He's calling it a shipment, right?
It's like a shipment. We don't know what that project is, but it's going to the Congo. And that I guess that dress is some significance to Zhang.
You know, I don't know what we just saw. I mean, I understand.
So it's this story. I guess this episode you can piece it into two pieces, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of backstory on White Rose.
I understood what we saw, but
it's a little backstory on White Rose, and then we see Elliott continue from last episode the some of the information that Price gave him on the liaison between Susan Jacobs, who was the contact that the lawyer in the first episode gave him to the Cyprus National Bank, which is where the Dark Army bank's at. And Susan Jacobs' contact there, Olivia Cortez, who is a new character that figures into this week's episode. We find Elliott and Mr. Robot and Darlene, his sister.
So Price gave them a name.
Price gave him a name.
And what was that name?
Olivia Cortez. So Olivia Cortez is the contact at the bank that she is essentially handling she doesn't know it, but she's handling the accounts for the Dark Army.
She's doing it unaware. She's not aware that she's
not aware. So they're trying to hack her information. They can't. They figure out that they're gonna have to physically go into her apartment, open her laptop, and log into the bank.
Right
from there. So that is how the rest of the episode pans out. You see, Elliott.
I'm a better hacker than Elliott.
You see Elliott hack into her laptop.
I just hacked into my own laptop.
Did you?
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
It took me 4 tries to guess my password, but I got it.
You got
Nailed it.
Did you hack like in that infamous scene in Swordfish? Did you hack that way like Hugh Jackman?
No.
Did you have assistance like Hugh Jackman did?
No.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you're just alone in your room.
Yeah, it was just me and me.
So Elliott finds out that he's gonna need a little bit more information from Olivia Cortez. Her login at the bank requires 2-factor authorization. He needs her fob to be able to log in.
Tell everyone what fob is.
A fob is just a piece of technology that auto generates codes every 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and it changes so that it's never the same.
You know, it's also defined as a chain attached to a watch for carrying in a waistcoat or a waistband pocket.
There you go. Now you know. Now you have way more information about the word fob that you ever thought you needed.
Or a small ornament attached to a watch chain. I think that's what they were talking about.
So.
Nah, I think it's
we see Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
Look for this fob.
Sounds like he's a character now.
What?
Fob.
Fob. Yeah, Fob is a very important character now in the story. Elliott's trying to track down Fob.
Yeah.
And his family.
Mm-hmm.
The Fobettes.
Right. Stupid. Oh,
what do you think Fob studied in college, John?
I don't know.
What do you think he wanted to do when he was little, and he never got to do? And now he's toiling away as a fob for a bank, toiling away, just spinning out passcodes. What do you think his dreams were when he was little? What did he really want to do? And I'm sure he didn't want to be doing that. Just spinning out random RSA codes for
I don't
logins.
know.
Every 60 seconds,
How old
John.
is Fob?
60 seconds. I probably can't be more than a few years old.
Probably
He'll probably be replaced soon. He'll probably start.
He probably wanted to be an Uber driver.
Maybe, right?
Back then.
Yeah.
For Uber.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time.
Well, that's time. No, so Elliott goes on an adventure. He's tracking down Olivia, John. He needs to track her down. So he finds something in her calendar. Apparently, Olivia has a OkCupid date on Christmas Eve, which is a little sad. If you think about it. Christmas Eve,
Mm-hmm.
you're at a bar. You're meeting an OkCupid
We've all
date.
been there.
You've met an OkCupid date on Christmas Eve?
I've never used OkCupid.
Yeah, it's a little weird. That's the only thing that threw me off a little bit. It's like, who goes and meets a complete stranger on Christmas Eve?
I don't know.
It probably is done.
I've never been to a bar by myself on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I just do strip clubs. Just kidding. I'm thinking, have I? I don't think so.
And on his way there, John, Elliott bumps into Krista, his old therapist. And obviously they have a little bit of friction.
Yeah. She wasn't too excited to see him.
No, she wasn't. She's apparently now she's dating another man. It's a completely different man from her ex.
He should just ruin that relationship
Right.
too.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
And she's like scolding him, right? Like she's making him feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was what's her name? Dom in this at all?
No, she wasn't.
She was not, right?
No. He kept asking about Dom. I was like, I don't know, John. The whole episode we were watching it earlier, like, where's Dom?
Oh, you're like, we're looking at Fob right now. Stop asking about Dom.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of Christian Slater in this one.
it's a lot of Christian Slater. And then we see that Elliott's being followed by a new character. We don't know who he is until later in the episode. We learn that Vera is back, and that he has somebody following Elliott, and that he wants to be his partner because he feels like Elliott's the architect. He's a genius. He will make him the king of New York.
Right.
And Vera is.
We still don't know what the deal with this guy is.
No. We just know now that he's following him. Now he knows who Krista is because he has a picture of her.
Right.
He's gonna have to find a new person to follow Elliott because he doesn't like how the other guy is not what did he say? Attention to detail.
Yeah. Yeah. That just he's a little bit of a rough boss.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to in the future episodes. Vera
just ruin it. He just kills the guy. Shouldn't be listening to this if you haven't seen the episode.
Yeah. Vera is very much interested in Elliott as his architect to becoming king of New York.
Right.
So back to Olivia. We find her at the bar, and Elliott. His plan is to blackmail her with a bottle of OxyContin.
Right. And then Christian
So
Slater
they said, no, that's too creepy.
or himself.
Let's actually be a human being and not destroy this poor woman's life.
Right.
Let's just talk to her. And that's what he does.
Right. And he got laid.
And he got laid, yeah. Give it up for Mr. Robot being a matchmaker on Christmas Eve.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Elliott gets a little bit of an early Christmas gift.
Yeah.
He has-
She wasn't bad looking.
They have a connection talking about their parents.
Yeah.
Apparently her mother died and she didn't take it too well and she wanted to kill herself and she didn't.
Right. And he was like, sexy.
And he said, "Let's go to bed. That really turns me on."
Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
So he uses the opportunity. He gets the information he needs. Darlene is able to log in using the information that Elliott sends her about the fob. The fob comes into play again. Fob does. Fob is the king of that scene, right?
Yeah.
Fob does beautiful acting from Fob in that scene.
Okay, we're just gonna dumb Fob down the security thing that they need.
Yes.
The two-factor security thing.
Yes.
I know there's gonna be tech nerds that are gonna, if they're listening, if we have anyone listening, they're gonna correct us.
Yes.
And please do.
Yes.
Please do.
Yes.
Oh man.
Um,
It's pronounced phobe.
and the episode ends with Tyrell Wellick back at Elliott's apartment, excited, telling him he is the new CEO of E-Core, and they're finally in. And Elliott writes down a piece of paper. They're listening.
They're listening. And okay,
End of
so
episode.
let me ask you this, because I'm stupid. In the white van, is that
It looks like it's a Dark Army.
okay? So it's not the what's his name?
I don't think
not
it's
the drug dealer guy.
No, I don't think it's Vera.
It's not Vera.
No, it's
It-
so.
it-
Let's
it
go
probably-
back.
it
Let's
probably
go
is
back
Dark.
to the Dark Army. Okay, so let's go back to the scene with Zhang and his assistant, and him essentially telling her, you know what? Let's give Price what he wants. Let's accept his resignation. Because at first he wasn't gonna accept Price's resignation, but he thought about it after the flashback. He said, you know what? Let's give him what he wants. Let's call the Deus group together on Christmas Day, and we'll make Wellick the new CEO.
Why did he do that?
But well, he explained it. He said, you know what? Let's force their hand. You know, we know that Elliott and him are, you know, it's too much of a. You remember they talk about there's no such thing as coincidences. So he says, you know what?
Yeah, I almost got the line.
Yeah.
Right
So
before they said it.
So it goes back to
It's
this.
kind of predictable.
It goes back to this, right? Zhang is saying, obviously that means Price and Elliott are in some cahoots. Let's force their hand, you know. Let's push that timeline forward, you know. And we all know Zhang's all about time, so he doesn't want to waste any more time.
Right.
So his thing is, yeah, let's give him what he wants, so that way we can force their hand and see what their plans is. It's better to do that than
he kept the watch from the wedding day, right?
Yeah. So it makes sense for him to then, because he knows there's something up with Tyrell. He has to. He wouldn't just make him CEO if he didn't know. But like has something to do with Elliott as well. So it works perfectly for him.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
A
next
lot of
week.
Characters are missing from this episode, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they weren't important to the episode right now.
No, I know, but it's interesting how they do it. It's like, you know.
How a TV show functions?
No, but not. I'm saying this one, as opposed to some other one. I mean, there's a lot of shows that do it like this, but there's a lot of characters that are just like missing. That are like, but they're still very important characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Dom's still important. You know that Price is still important. They're just not. Yeah, they just weren't in it, but they're still like, they're still the reason. Like a lot of stuff's happening.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was an episode. A lot didn't. Not
there
a
wasn't
lot.
a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Not a lot happened.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot that happened.
But it is setting up something big.
I think I told you right after it ended. It's like, yeah, I think this episode's gonna be more important for another episode. The setup.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the Zhang stuff, the White Rose stuff, is gonna come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Price is gonna come into play. What they get from that being able to log into the into their accounts is gonna come into play. We don't see Darlene log into their account, so we'll probably see that next episode. What information they're able to pull from that.
Right.
So.
Right.
So we'll see. What's Error 404? Which would be next week's episode.
I don't know. If this is trivia, I don't know.
I'm asking you.
I'll tell you in a second if you want to fill in some time here.
Because it'll be interesting. Because he has been following that 400.
It's HTTP status code. That means the page it's when when you can't reach a page. You see it.
Yeah.
404 error means the server's just not. You can't reach the server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think that means?
Try
to predict next week's plot by the title.
I think Elliott's not going to be able to reach some sort of server.
You think so?
Like at a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. I have no idea. This show is like you get it, but it's still like, okay, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
That's how I felt tonight. Like I understood it all.
Yeah.
Well, I understood enough of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm like, okay, like I was entertained. I understood it. It's very well made.
Yeah.
I'm still like, okay, I need to see where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it has gotten. This is the weirdest it's gotten, I think, in all 4 seasons.
You think so? Why? In what sense?
Because at least the other ones, we kind of know. It's a very straightforward story.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of see where things are going. Here,
Yeah.
we have way too many questions right now.
Well, and I also
like, who is this guy? What is this guy doing? Everybody else is like.
And we also know this is the last season, so there's there's gonna be some finality to a lot of these threads.
There's some weird sci-fi stuff going on.
Yeah.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to say supernatural, but maybe like sci-fi-ish shit.
Yeah.
There's something going on with the drug dealer. What's his name? Vera.
Vera. Yeah. He wants to be king of New York, John.
Yeah, but he's
king
like
of New York.
He's like some kind of like magical drug dealer. Like I don't get it.
I don't know. He wants to be like Christopher Walken.
And it's like that
King of New York.
And it's almost like that kid has powers, right? That little kid who was able to like.
What little kid?
The one who was able to look at the picture.
I don't think he has powers.
Really?
Why do you think he has powers?
I don't know.
He was just asking him for his opinion. I mean, the kid just was more.
But he was so specific, and just like.
Yeah, but I think it was just human nature. It's like, oh, okay, like it's the when my mom yells at me. Like it was more. He was just being intuitive about it. I mean, I don't think it's anything magical.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was a little. It seemed a little psychic.
No, I think Vera was just trying to show the other guys like you need to be more intuitive, or don't because I'm gonna kill you.
I was like, well, he definitely proved a point.
Yeah, I think that's how it was. It wasn't anything magical. I think it's just use your instincts. But we'll see how Vera comes into play in later episodes. I'm sure he's gonna disrupt a lot of.
Because Vera did kill his girlfriend, right?
Yeah, he did.
It was his girlfriend, right?
Yeah, his girlfriend.
That was the one that he had to break him out of prison, right?
Yeah. His drug
it's funny. It's like we did not rewatch this show.
I haven't rewatched any episodes.
No, me neither. I don't think I have either. And it's like, dude, it's been 2 years
since season 3. Yeah,
and they're showing like the recap before the show starts, and like, wait,
you know what? Since the beginning, I've never rewatched an episode.
I've never. I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
I don't think
probably would help.
Dude,
I don't know.
It's a very different show.
And you know what? The one thing they didn't address in this episode that they left last episode is who is the third personality.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
They didn't address it at all.
And I'll be clear. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Mm-hmm.
You already know.
What?
I watched both episodes. No.
I'm shaking my head in I'm shaking my head in disappointment.
And well, that's how I was. Okay, I watched both episodes before this podcast.
Yeah.
So they're blurring together as one episode. I'm trying not to bring up stuff from the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you would think.
And I'm saying I watched both of them tonight.
Yeah, you would think that it's weird they didn't mention.
So I'm like,
Elliott realizing, hey, I might have a third personality. Like he doesn't. They don't comment on it at all. Like him in his conversation with Mr. Robot.
It's almost
maybe they just didn't have time. Like they were too busy. Like, hey, we need to get this done to reflect. And also Elliott isn't reflecting a lot. That's another interesting. Side point. Like he's not talking to the audience.
It's not that I mean, the story is obviously linear, right?
No, I'm just saying he's not commenting.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, but they are kind of like this. But they are just leaving you with questions that you're like, oh, we'll address them later.
Yeah.
And that's like a big
thing. You would think Elliott would be like, hey, that is weird. You know.
But I guess
is there a third person in my head?
Yeah, but I mean, that's gonna be.
But maybe he is thinking that we just can't hear him, right? I mean, it goes back to even the first episode where Mr. Robot said, "Hey, he's not talking to me anymore," or you,
right?
Like you, as in us, the audience.
He's
probably thinking about it. He's just not.
Because he used to narrate the show.
Yeah, so we're not hearing his thoughts. So that's another interesting aspect, right? We're not hearing his thoughts, so we don't know. He is probably thinking about it.
Well, it's interesting tonight when Darlene goes, "Is it you or is it him?"
Well, he's talking about Mr. Robot.
Yeah, but he goes, "Oh, it's me."
Yeah, but he did have sort of a look on his face. Maybe he did think, "Oh, I do have a third personality," but he's not telling us. So that's why I go back to that. It's interesting. We can't hear his thoughts anymore.
Right.
So he's probably thinking of it, but he's not gonna tell us anymore.
Right.
So that's just it's interesting for Ishmael to
I'm going to start being an asshole to people and just blame it on my other
personality.
Yeah.
Do that. See if they believe you.
Yeah. It'd be funny, right? Both my personalities are just equally asshole-ish.
It's like I didn't know.
I had to come up with a third one now.
Yeah. So that's it for this week. It was a good episode. It feels like it's a transition episode.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty. It ends pretty kind of creepy and intense, though.
Yeah.
It does end like
they're listening.
You're like, ooh, I would not want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Because you forget, like, he's trying to rob like this. What's his name? What's her name? He's trying to rob White Rose. Is probably the most powerful person in the world.
Yes.
That's just in this world.
Yes.
The most powerful person in the world.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's probably a problem.
Yeah.
I would imagine the most powerful person in the world is probably powerful.
So yeah, we'll see how the how that turns out.
We'll see how it plays. Not a lot to say. In fact, if there's, I want to talk about it more. If you guys have comments, just do it. If you want to leave them. If you want to sell us, we suck.
Any theories?
Yeah.
That we might have not touched on.
Just say Matt sucks in the comments.
That's fine. I'll take it.
And then I'll hit the like button.
I'll take
from
it.
Multiple accounts.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we leave you for another week.
All right.
Bye-bye.